Good evening and welcome to Views with Joyce Waddell. We've titled our program tonight, Our Blessings, as we talk to Pastor Dunlap. And he talks about an accident that he was involved in and how the grace of God brought him to where he is now. And this accident happened in an event of helping someone else. And so we've titled the program is Our Blessings, because sometimes we're blessed in so many different ways that we don't even know how to count them. Welcome, Pastor Dunlap.
Thank you, Senator Waddell. It's wonderful to be here.
Now, some interesting things happened to you to bring you to where you are. You were in the height of your ministry, and something happened.
Okay. All right. It was on November 5th of last year, 2015. And my wife and I had just left the hospital visiting one of our members, and we was coming up 277, and we saw a stranded motorist on the side of the highway. And because my wife and I do it so much without even talking, I pulled in front of the motorist. She got into the driver's side. I got out, told her to pull down a ramp. I'll see her in a minute. I went to help the guy push his car. We probably pushed the car for about 5 feet when another car hit us from behind. Okay.
He hit you on foot,
I was pushing the car
and he came up right behind you.
in his car and hit us.
When he hit you, was he trying to stop, or did he? You don't know the reason.
I'm not sure if he just didn't see us or what the situation was, but he came in behind us, hit us with full impact, immediately severed my right leg and mangled my left. And then he backed up and pulled off.
Did you get the tag number or any information on the driver?
I actually didn't see anything except for asphalt.
Oh.
Yeah. So he totally severed the right leg and mangled the left leg, and I spent 31 days in CMC. Yeah, so.
And that was you and another motorist. Two of you were pushing the car.
The guy whose car I got out to help, both of us was pushing the car. Actually, I was on the rail side of the car. I wasn't on the highway side. I was on the rail side. He was on the outside where all the traffic was. And actually, the car hit both of us. As I said, it severed my leg and right leg and mangled the left. And he had a broken forearm.
He got the lesser of the impact.
Yeah.
Than you did.
The only thing happened to him was that he had a broken forearm.
And the driver was in the car at the time.
Which driver?
The person whose car was disabled.
No, he was helping me push the car.
Okay, no one was in it.
No one was inside the car.
You were trying to push the car to the side, to the curb.
Well, we're actually trying to push it down to the ramp. If we'd have got it to the ramp, because it's a decline, as soon as we got it to the ramp, he could have gotten in and then rode it down the decline to get it off the highway.
And you were on one of the busiest roads in Charlotte, Independence Boulevard.
No, we were on 277.
Okay. Going around Charlotte, that goes around.
Yeah, we were on 277. If you stayed on the route of 277 where it runs into Brookshire. Yeah, so.
And when you ended up you didn't know what had happened.
I didn't. When I realized what was going on, I was laying face down on the asphalt on 277. And like I said, my wife didn't know what was going on until she heard the cars blowing, and so she ran up the ramp and tried to figure out what was going on. And when she saw me, she started, well, let's just say she got a little bit excited. And I looked up and I saw her, and I realized that I'm a second-degree black belt in karate.
Oh, okay.
So martial arts has played a major role in my life. And I decided that what I needed to do laying on the side of the highway was to start meditating and slow my heart rate. I knew that if I did not slow my heart rate, I would have bled out on that highway. So I marshaled all of my energies to slow my heart rate. Yeah.
And as a result of that, it stopped your blood from flowing as quickly as it would have
Right.
had you not done so.
Right, right.
So that was a tragic accident, and they didn't expect you to be the point where you are now today.
Well,
Because you were in when I saw you, you were in a wheelchair.
well, the people that came there, they didn't expect me to survive the accident. So, yeah.
At the hospital, they knew that the prayer of God would heal you, didn't they?
Well, I don't know if they knew that, but I knew that I had I found out that I had an army of people that was praying for me at the hospital. Several of the waiting rooms were filled with people who had come to pray for me and be by my wife's side. So I appreciate all of the prayers and supports and all of that.
And the news went out immediately. But at the same time, did they ever find this person?
They never caught the person. Actually, the CMPD came and did a Crime Stoppers with my wife, trying to put out more information to see if they can help find the perpetrator, but they never got him yet. They haven't got him as of yet.
And that's been almost a year.
Well, it happened on November the 5th of last year, so we're a couple months out, but we're close.
Mm-hmm. Honest, we'll continue to talk with Pastor Leroy Dunlap as we talk about blessings and how we're blessed in so many ways and so many things that we never have imagined happen to us. But then the aftermath of it ends up being a blessing. And so he's sharing his story of what happened to him from a wheelchair, from a tragic accident, and now walking on his own, which was almost unbelievable at that time. They didn't expect you to walk again, did they?
They did not. They did not. But God is the orchestrator. He has things in store for us that He does not necessarily reveal to us until we start moving, and He allows us to see what He's getting ready to do in our lives. So,
had you kept in touch with the motorist since your accident, or do you continue to stay in tune with each other just for moral support?
he's been. We visited with one another a few times. He's been to the church. He actually goes. He's actually a minister. The other guy's a minister also.
Did you know that when you?
I didn't know that. I did not know that. He's a minister and he helps the ministry at University Park Baptist Church. So he's a minister also. But of course, I didn't know that when I got out the car to help him. But we've been in touch a few times.
Now, when you saw him and you saw the car, was there something special about that car on that particular day that made you stop to help him?
Oh, man. My wife and I just simply believe that as Christians, our job is to help people. Doesn't matter who it is or what's going on. If we have the capability of helping someone, we just believe that we ought to help them if we can. And the only thing that we saw was somebody that was broken down on the side of the highway. Now, I know that I have 5 girls and 2 boys. And if one of my children would have some type of breakdown on the highway, I would like to think that someone would be kind enough to stop and help him. So we just saw him, his car disabled on the side of the highway, and we, like I said, it was second nature to us. We didn't even discuss it. I pulled the car in front of her, got out. She crossed over in the driver's seat, and I told her to pull down the ramp. I'll see her in a minute. So it wasn't anything special about the car other than it was somebody that needed help. And we just believe that it's our job to help each other.
And he was on the same side that you are on.
Yes.
Traveling. Now, that's a similar thing happened to me.
Okay.
As I was driving along, and the headlight fell out of my car, and I heard something dragging. I couldn't figure out what it was. A headlight fall out of your car? A truck driver was ahead of me and kept honking his horn for me to stop. And I stopped. And when I stopped, he said, "Your headlight fell out." I said, "What? Who ever heard of a headlight falling out of your car on the highway?" He was kind enough to take that headlight, unplug it, and put it in my trunk so that I could move forward. But, so I want to know, could it be put back in because it was already out? And I had been hearing that in my car for a while, but I couldn't figure out what it was, and nobody could figure out what it was. And as I think back, about a year ago, I had my oil changed. And when I had the oil changed, they did not put the cap back on it. They left the cap inside of the laid on top of the engine.
Oh, okay.
The oil leaked and had leaked around the rubber on that light. And it looked funny and looked strange. But I thought nothing. Here I am. Luckily, it was in the daytime and not at night. And the worst thing that happened when I took it to, I was able to get into the next town and took it to a service station. I should have called AAA, but I didn't.
Okay.
Took it to the service station to be repaired, and they charged me unbelievable amount of money and kept my car for like 3 days just for the headlight, trying to find a used one. So my hindsight with that again, I will call AAA.
Oh, okay.
So as a result of your accident, now you've almost completely healed.
Well, I'm walking on a prosthetic, and they reconstructed my left leg. They were able to put that back together. I have a rod in it, but they were able to put it back together. It's not completely healed yet, but I am walking on it. I'm moving forward. Life doesn't stop. And so often you just simply have to play the hand that you're dealt. You don't determine the cards, you just get them and play whatever you get. This is where I am right now, so I decided that we would go ahead and make the best of it.
And so when we talk about blessings, there is something that happened in this that was a blessing. And the blessing is you were able to help somebody. You're able to help the motorist.
Okay.
It could have been worse for him.
Right.
Broken down on a highway.
Yeah. Well, like I say, that's what life is all about. So often we've gotten it twisted in the Christian community, and we think that being a Christian is about going to church and the gifts and speaking in tongues and shouting and things of that nature, and all of those things are okay. But in essence, that's not what Christianity is all about. The litmus test of whether or not you are a real Christian, Christ said, "By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, that you have love one for another." So the litmus test for a Christian is not how long you shout or speaking in tongues or anything of that nature. The litmus test for speaking in tongues is, for Christianity is, how well can you love somebody? How good are you at taking care of people? That's what it's all about, and that's what we believe, and that's what we try to do.
Okay, we're going to pause for a moment, Pastor Dunlap, and we're going to go to some sights and sounds. I think we have a choir that's going to be singing, a choir that sang here, and we're going to go to that, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to share with this audience those things that you just spoke about that are so important as we help each other. And we know that we must help, we must give back, because we have been given. We have been given a lot of things as we work, as we breathe on and exist on this earth. It's a beautiful world, a beautiful earth. And it's made up of people of all kinds, and people must help each other.
All is gone.
Audience, we'll continue to talk with Pastor Dunlap as we talk about blessings and how in so many ways we are blessed beyond measure. And sometimes we don't even know where our blessings come, but they are there. So that, Pastor Dunlap, we just mentioned one of the things that you were blessed with.
I think one of the things that came to the forefront as far as a blessing for me was a blessing that I already had. It was just magnified when that accident took place. And that blessing was in the person of Teresa Wilhelmina McCormick Dunlap. That's my wife. She was already the most important thing in my life and the greatest blessing that God had already given me. But when the accident occurred, one of the reasons that I was so determined not to leave here was because I hadn't had enough time spent with her, and I wanted a little bit more time with her. But actually, she saved my life. In the hospital, they were misdiagnosing me.
What?
Making misdiagnoses. And she's probably the most brilliant woman that I know.
But you had to have somebody there when you had these diagnoses, and when you had to somebody has to sign off for the procedures.
Well, she was there, and now I was in the hospital because I was hurt. I wasn't sick. I was hurt. Then once I got into the hospital, with what they were doing to me, I started getting sick. And what she did was she started researching. And within a couple of weeks, she knew more about what the doctors were supposed to do than the doctors did. So when they came in and was talking about doing various things, she either approved it or didn't approve it. But actually, after about 30 days, she said, listen, we need to leave. So when I left the hospital...
She told the doctors that you need to leave?
No, she told me.
That you need to leave?
That we need to leave. So
leave the hospital?
That's what I said. Leave the hospital? She said, I can take care of you better at home. When the doctor came in, he was telling me that they were going to aggressively treat me. I said, well, we're leaving. And they say, well, what you mean you're leaving? I said, well, we're leaving today. I've already called my oldest brother and my two sons and told them to come pick me up. And they told me that they weren't releasing me. And they said, you don't have to release me because I can leave if I want to. And I actually left the hospital.
The doctor said they're not releasing you?
They told me they were not going to discharge me and give me discharge papers.
Oh.
And I told them that I was going to leave anyway. And they told me that I would be dead within a week. They told me I'd be dead within a week. There was a Friday that we left, but they did a follow-up appointment they asked me to come back to on that Wednesday. When I left the hospital, my lungs were full of water, full of fluid, and they took x-rays of my lungs. When I got back that Wednesday, they took x-rays of my lungs again. And the doctor that took the x-rays came in and she was shaking her head, and I'm like, oh my God, it must be a bad report. And the doctor said, listen, I've been doing this for almost 40 years. I've never seen anything like this. And she said, I could show you better than I can tell you. And she put up the first x-rays and she said, this is your lungs. It was cloudy, you couldn't hardly see anything. She says, full of fluid. Then she put up the next x-ray and she said, this is an x-ray of someone with a healthy lung, no fluids. And she said, this is yours.
And you were leaving at that time?
No, we left.
You had already left and you came back?
We left and they asked us to come back, but they asked what you've been doing, and I said, well, my wife has had me on breathing treatments, and she was giving me natural herbs and things of that nature. So she did at home in less than a week what the hospitals couldn't do in 30 days.
Had she been doing natural herbs before this time?
She had been working with people and things of that nature, but she stopped everything that she was doing and started doing research and, like I said, giving me breathing treatments. And she just ministered to me 24/7. And like I said, it's because of her that I'm still alive today.
And that's the blessing.
It is.
And the blessing is knowledge.
Yeah.
She was able to research
Yeah.
and took the time to find out what was going on with you and with your body.
Oh, yeah.
And so did you ever go back to the hospital to follow up with the doctors?
Well, all of them, I've gone back, and all of them are amazed at where I am. Because like I said, they didn't expect me to live through the accident. And then once I was in the hospital and I got so sick that once we left, they didn't expect me to last a week. So they are pretty amazed at where I am right now. So.
When they said you wouldn't last a week, was there any thought in your mind of following them at that time and not leaving?
No, ma'am. Actually, I was thinking that if I'm going to die, I might as well die in the comfort of my own home, somewhere where I'm comfortable and around people that I care about, as opposed to being there with people that are strangers to me.
So you had already accepted whatever, you just knew, you had a premonition that it's going to be better.
Well, my wife told me I wasn't going to die. And usually I just do what she tells me to do. So she told me I wasn't going to die, so I figured I better live since that's what she told me.
Well, that's a blessing.
Yes, it is.
And not only was she a blessing to you in that venture, she also helped with the church, didn't she?
After I got out of church, after I got out of the hospital, the first thing that I did was go to the church and appoint her the pastor of the church. Because I didn't go back to the church for several months. So I appointed her the pastor, and she did a marvelous job preaching every Sunday and teaching Bible study and just taking care of the everyday situations with the church. And she is currently co-pastoring with me right now.
What a blessing.
It really is. It really is. She is a powerful woman of God. She really is.
Oh, and so we've been talking with Pastor Leroy Dunlap, and he's the pastor at Redemption Christian Center. Is that it?
Christian Ministries.
Christian Ministries. And he shared his wonderful story of how sometimes when the doctors give you up, God does not give you up. And there are others who will always be by your side. So thank you for being with us.